let up. They're going to treat us like animals. They're going to expect to get bitten.
I am not going to supervise these women by myself. If I can't have another officer with me, well, I'll resign.
We've all had threats like this before. They're just trying to get under our skins.
Well, it's working, and I don't like it. Oh, it's not just Smith's lot, but you can feel the same mood through the entire prison, and it's getting worse.
Look, if we do double up, we've got to continue to stop the prisoners congregating.
You'll have to see Mrs. Davidson about that. And after all, she's on their side.
She's only trying to stop things from getting worse.
How? By letting the women do what they like?
Look, if we double up, we're back to square one. We haven't got the manpower, which means more overtime for all of us. And it also cuts down the number of rounds that we can do.
Yeah, and it leaves them even more time left unsupervised.
Right.
The only answer is severe punishment. But try telling that to Mrs. Davidson.
Oh, how can we keep them in line if we have to keep referring everything to her the whole time?
Well, any suggestions? Keeping in mind that we're the ones that get the blame if something goes wrong.
We have to be given free rein in controlling the women. It's as simple as that. And we have to insist that Mrs. Davidson supports us.
Stormtroopers are out in force today.
Yeah, I wonder why. Something happened.
Hey, Mrs. Barry, why are you giving these out? Don't you trust us?
Just keep it moving, Burns.
Okay.
What happened to the shirts?
They got their hands on some bleach. The tie-dye brigade.
How childish.
Just shows you what we can do when your backs are turned, Vera.
The door ready to move out.
How long is it going to take you lot to learn? You're not kids, you know. You're supposed to be mature women.
Oh, thanks for noticing.
The only thing I've noticed, Brian, is you're headed for trouble.
Mr.
Big
Fletcher,
trouble.
there are 2 knives missing.
All right, where are they? I won't ask you again. All right, you'll move out into the corridor one at a time. Miss Bennett, you and Officer Powell, search them thoroughly.
You're first, Smith.
The rest of you up against the wall, hands where we can see them. The first person to move or talk will be straight into solitary. Now, come on, move it!
at all.
Seems to me you're looking in the wrong direction, Fletch. Why don't you check your own ranks?
Mr. Fletcher?
All right, we can punish all of you, or just the ones responsible. It's up to you. The women have been locked in their cells, and we're doing a spot check now. We didn't have time to get your permission.
Under the circumstances, I wouldn't have expected you to, Mr. Fletcher. However, I think Mrs. Powell has something else on her mind.
Well, this is the second time the women have stolen dangerous items. Next time, we may not be so lucky. We want to be able to do spot checks whenever we feel it's necessary, without checking with you first.
Very well.
We also want written instructions from you, giving us the authority to carry out regulations to the letter.
Want or demand?
Well, we had a meeting. It was a majority vote.
It sounds very much like a no-confidence vote, Mrs. Powell.
No, Mrs. Davidson. But we don't feel you're supporting us as much as you could be. Now, if something happens, we don't want to be held responsible.
I have always taken full responsibility for anything that has happened at Wentworth. You don't need a written guarantee. And I have no intention of giving you the power to punish indiscriminately. I am still the governor, and I will still make the final decisions.
Even if it means placing us in danger.
Don't you ever suggest that to me again.
No, Mrs. Davidson. But if we don't break these women now, we can't answer for the consequences.
I don't expect you to. However, I do expect my staff to remain calm. And as far as breaking the women is concerned, I will not tolerate that sort of attitude from any officer. I must say, I'm beginning to wonder just who is breaking whom.
That can go.
Oh, Miss Bennett!
It's a wonder I missed it the first time. It could be broken and used as a cutting instrument. This is classified as a weapon.
Oh, I don't know why you don't take everything and get done with it.
Don't worry. There'll be spot checks whenever we see fit, night or day. You'll soon learn to toe the line.
I trust you can all hear me. You will never learn, will you? Threats, vandalism, your general behavior. I have given you more than enough chances. If it's boredom you want, then that is what you will get. You will spend the rest of your day in the cells. You will be released for a meal and then returned here. There will be no recreation and no contact with the other women. Repairs to all the equipment you have damaged will be paid for out of your earnings. Your personal belongings will be returned when you prove to me you can be trusted, and not before. Is that clear? It may interest you to know I had intended finding a replacement for Mr. Andrews as quickly as possible. However, if this is the sort of behavior you're going to present, then I have no alternative but to drop the matter.
Well, the screws are going to get rid of him too, so what's the point?
Yes, stick it, Mrs. Davidson. What you give with one hand, you take away with the other.
Well, you can't promise nothing because you've got to do what the screws tell you to do.
And we don't trust you anymore anyway, so there.
Onward, prisoners, sisters, marching as to war, 'cause the screws of Wentworth treat us oh so poor.
She's lost control. So it's up to us to get it back. And it's up to you to talk some sense into her. You're the deputy governor.
Well, I don't see what else she can do at this stage.
None of this would have happened if we'd been able to handle things the way they should be.
Oh, it's too late for that now, Vera. We have to insist on more protection for ourselves. I mean, what is she waiting for? Another riot? Or until one of us gets hurt?
We need more officers for a start.
Well, Mrs. Davidson's been trying for months.
But we can get temporary officers from Pentridge, can't we? At least until things quieten down.
You mean male officers?
Yes, why not?
We could protect ourselves if we were issued with batons.
Oh, well, count me out. I couldn't use one of those things even if I had to. Give me a few hefty men around any time.
Yeah, it might do some good at that. Weight of numbers, at least.
Look, those women don't care what happens to them anymore, which means that they're not afraid of reprisals, and that makes us more vulnerable. The only way to keep them in line is tighter security and by force.
Well, I am not going to use a baton. That is just asking for trouble.